for them to convince you? No.
Yes, it was in the beginning until the big boss called, and then it was like, yeah, I didn't want to follow Chuck. That was my thing.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the guy to follow Chuck and think that I'm taking Chuck's place. He's my friend. I didn't want to do that, and that's one of the primary reasons I didn't want to do this at this time. And I thought I made it clear. I was telling everybody, hey guys, texting me, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? I kept saying no, 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 no. And then that evening, Al calls and Al Francis calls.
Monday.
Monday evening, and asked me if I would do it. He would like me to do it, and the idea was, okay, I'll talk about it with my family. We'll let you know tomorrow morning. And then an hour later, he called back and said, and RSA was there, and then RSA spoke to me and asked me if I would do it, and I didn't have to wait till the next day to say yes. So it was once the big boss asked, it was time to do it.
Last question from me. Because remember how Chot asked you to help him out, right? And then you said we're a great team. So now when this happened, didn't you go back and said, hey?
I would love to have him here, but
I
I think he's just worn out. He wants to take a break, as close as we are, it might be a little weird.
Yeah.
It's not something that would be natural to do. But I'm hoping Josh can join me. Josh and Jung and Butch Antonio and Yvette. We're all looking. We're trying to keep that staff intact because it's a great staff and they know what they're doing. They know the players. They know the procedures in international play.
Yeah.
We're all PBA guys. We're not used to coaching all that and knowing all those players, and they do. So that part of the staff. The fact that Josh still wants to join, although he's in Doha now doing the under 16, and he won't be back till September 20th or 24th or something like that. So he may, not confirmed yet, he may fly straight from Doha to China to meet us.
Okay.
And Jung will be with us, and Butch will continue to handle all of the talking with the federations and doing all the meetings and stuff, and Yvette will still be there. So the guys we're only adding really is Richard, Coach Richard De Rosario, and L.A. Tenorio to help me kind of teach our system.
Right.
We're not going to be able to put in our whole system, but we want to, we're very different from the dribble drive that was used during the World Cup. So we're going to try to get those guys to learn that a little bit without trying to throw too much at them. A simplified version of what we do is what we're looking to do. But also we're going to be very defensive oriented and see if that will get us a little further along. So that's the goal. Let's see if we can do it and do it within 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
What you mentioned earlier about Scottie being a usual suspect, we all know there is some concerns from fans because of his performance in the World Cup, probably because of his injury. So how's his status right now?
Well, I think a couple of things about the World Cup, and I think that's fair for Scottie is, number one, he was coming off a hand injury. So there was some doubt he was even going to play. And then number two, he's not really built for the kind of system that was used there. He's not a Jason Castro type of, or Jordan Clarkson type of guard that's going to beat everybody one-on-one. He's really a creator, a hustler, a defensive guy, and he reads the game and gets people open. And those skills weren't, I guess, really akin to what we were trying to achieve while we were there with the World Cup. So his playing time got a little bit more limited. I thought Kiefer played extremely well. Chuck, in a short tournament like that, you have to go with the guys who are playing well. You can't continue to risk going with the guys who are struggling. And Scottie struggled a little bit, and so he went to Kiefer. And you got to remember also, when JC came to the team, that changed the dynamic because now he's the point guard. And that lessened Scottie's minutes because JC is now having the ball. Previous to that, when Justin was there, he was the lead point guard, and Justin was playing the 3-4. So, he was really playing a lot of minutes. So it was a little bit on, I think, some of the criticism that Scottie may have gotten. I didn't read all of it, but I just heard a little bit about it. Was, I think, really unfair and unfounded, without looking at it deeper in the dynamics of the team change in terms of JC and in terms of the system in which he was trying to play. So going back to kind of where he's comfortable now, in what we do as at Enebra, he's going to be having that more and be with Justin, who is very, very comfortable with. Then I think you're going to see Scottie rise up and be the Scottie that we always love and know. People said he's not built for the international game. I can't be more against that idea. That is totally wrong. It wasn't the game, it was the system in which we were trying to play, and the fact that JC was ball dominant, and so we were playing a ball dominant type of offense rather than a movement offense, which Scottie's really, really good at. So Scottie can play in the international game. He proved that all the way through Lithuania. He proved that during the qualifiers, how well he played in the qualifiers. I have no doubt Scottie's going to rise to the occasion and be our best player in the Asian game.
Coach, you still have 8 players to choose. So what, aside from commitment, what is the quality of the players that you're searching?
Again, it's just something that there's a process going on right now in terms of who we can get, and I don't want to disrupt that process by revealing all the names at this point, who we're going after. We're just trying to fill out the positions. We don't want to be too guard heavy. We have great guards. There's a lot of guards that we can put in there. I mean, just look at Purefood's team. I mean, we can put them all in there. Mark, Paul, Gio. I mean, they could all be on that team. It's just there's a lot of guards to choose from. We're pretty solid in the bigs. We have Japeth and Jumar and Kwame, Anj. We have those guys. We're pretty solid at the 5, and Justin will play a lot at the 4. Where we're lacking really is that 3-2 position, or that off guard and 3-man position, because Jamie's out and Dwight's out. Those are the guys that fill those positions. We're hoping Calvin Lufthansa can fill that position. But we really need guys who can swing between the 3 and the 4 so that we can use Justin's versatility. If he's only going to be stuck at the 4 because we don't have a 4, it's going to make us less versatile. If we can get another big, like the thing that was great was Edu was such a great 4-man. He could play with Jumar or with Japeth or with Kai. He could even play the 5 if necessary. And that allowed us to play, Dwight and Jamie and let them go 3-4 as well. But we don't have that Edu who has that versatility. So those are the kind of things we're looking for. We're looking for guys who can be versatile, swing in different positions. Like I said earlier, there's a way to beat the Middle Eastern teams in China, and there's a way to beat the Koreans and Japanese. You're going to have the same team playing both those guys. You probably won't be very good. You'll have to be versatile enough to change your game to fit who you're playing, and that's what we're hoping to do.
Coach, did you talk personally to JB? Where is his condition game-wise after the recovery?
Yeah, he's still undergoing some rehab. It's going to be a continuing thing, but he's back on the court. He's running up and down. He's joining things. He's shooting. He feels. He said he feels good. He said very minimal pain on his ankle. The doctors have basically given him a clearance, but he's got to continue to rehab as he goes. So we're expecting to bring his rehab team to China, to Inspire and to China, and continuing his rehab as he goes along. Whether he'll be full 100%, I'm not sure. But it's worth the gamble to take it, because who else do we got? We don't have another naturalized player out there that we can replace him with. So the 90% Justin's going to be better than anybody else we can get at this time. So we're going to gamble with him and go with him. And he says he can do it, so let's see. We'll give it a shot.
Coach, how about Brandon Ganuelas Rosa?
No, he's out. Spoke to him this morning. His leg is still broken. It hasn't healed yet. I just spoke to him this morning actually, and he was at the top of our list, honestly. And because again, that versatility of being able to play, he can play 3, 4, or 5, and that we thought he'd be just a perfect match with Justin. And he was really dynamic, we felt, in the Southeast Asian Games. Yeah. But his leg, it's similar to Jumar's injury. His leg is still broken in the inside of his bone. They took a PET scan or some kind of bone scan. They still found fractures that haven't healed yet. So they're hoping for, that was a week ago. They were supposed to look at it 2 weeks later, which is like the 18th or the 19th, something like that. I'm not sure, but he's going to get another one. And then after he gets that one, if it's healed, now he has 4 weeks of rehab to do. So the timeline is not set for him. Can't do it. But we would have loved to have had him. He was one of our prime gets, but we're not going to be able to get him.
Coach, asking about Ange Kwame, he had the chance to play with Rainer Stein for the Jones Cup and had that experience playing with eBay players. I know he also was part of the Gilas team during the qualifiers, but now you're going to be the one coaching him and, being with like guys like Jumar and Japet. How big of that exciting is that opportunity for you to be able to coach, Ange?
Well, Ange he's a wonderful person. I experienced that. He went with us to, thank you. He went with us to Lithuania and, thank you. He went with us to Estonia and Lithuania, and he played all the way through there. The thing we found out about Ange is that what I really, really like about him is that he's a switchable big. He's big and huge and powerful, but he can switch out on all screens and play guys really, really tough. He has a really, really high motor, plays hard all the time. And so I think that he's going to be really valuable for us. And it kind of gives it a little different feel from Junmar. Junmar is he's not a switchable big, but I thought his defense really improved in the World Cup. We're going to hope that it continues. But Ange can come in, and if we're having trouble with little guards or a hard movement, Ange can come in and defend and rebound, and he can finish around the rim. Justin loved to spot him and find him around the rim because he can really finish. So he should be a big help.
Coach, although Coach Al said it earlier already, did you actually convince him to just go for Ginebra Core?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Did you actually persuade Coach Al to just go for Ginebra Core for the Asian Games?
No, never talked about it. Again, I think you have to just, you can't win if you don't bring your best players. That's always been my opinion about the national team. If you don't bring your best players, you're not going to win. And then you have to get your best players to be your best team. And so we're not going to bring our best players at the moment because we're not going to have the guys from Japan, the guys from Korea. But we're going to get the best players that are available and try to make them the best team. And I think that's important. There's still a lot of guys that can play in the PBA. One of the guys that we're talking about who's still up in the air is, and you guys all know him, he could be a real impact for us, is Mikey Williams. But he's not a lock on the team because we're still trying to get him here in time to start preparing for us. But he would be, he's a game changer if you can get him on the team. The ability to score and stretch the defense, and would open up things for Justin. So, but like I said, you're getting me into this lineup thing where you're reaching deep. I wasn't supposed to mention his name, but I did. So, but he's one of the guys that we'd like to have, but he's still questionable.
I will mention one name again. Arvin Tolentino.
Or
No comment.
He was really in the SEA Games.
Yeah, no comment.
or did you consider another guy from another league like Balti?
Huh?
Balti.
Balti, we have tried to get Balti forever. He never is available. We tried to get him for the World Cup team. We tried really, really hard to get him for the World Cup. He was one of our guys that we really desired, but he's just not available. He doesn't want to. He has shown us zero interest.
Coach,
So-
any chance Christian is unretiring?
No, he was very definite. He's not retiring. He's got, he continues to worry about his knees, and he wants to stay right and I respect that decision for him. So, I was hoping that Christian and Jamie would join us because that would give us more never guys to help us teach the other guys, but neither of them are going to be available. So I was going to go up to Scottie and Japeth and Justin.
About LA playing.
You never know. He's gonna work out with us. He said he wants to work out with the team because he wants to stay in shape. So you never know. He might. We are thinking, and we haven't really proposed this to the big boys, big men, I should say. We'll call them boys, but the big guys, whoever, the powers that be. But we're thinking about bringing in a couple of Ginebra players. Just as practice guys, bodies that could help us in case there's an injury or something like that. Maybe a Sidney O'Berry or Narj Pinto, or would love to have Jeremiah Zion. Jeremiah would have been perfect for this. But I know he would have been really hungry. Zion, but Maya would have been a guy that we would have put on this team for sure. But we might put a couple of Ginebra guys on the team just to help us out in practice, knowing that they won't make the team overall, but just to help us out along the way.
Just clarifying on Ange's status, so is he already in the final 12 or still under consideration?
He's definitely part of the final 12 if he's available.
If he's available. All right.
If he's available, we're not 100%. Like I said, he has something going on in Europe, so I'm not clear on the whole situation. That's more Butch Antonio and Al Francis are the ones working on the talking.
So it's only Justin, Junmar, Scottie, and Japeth.
For now.
The players in the
You guys keep talking about lineup. That's what I'm saying. I'm not working. I don't want to keep working on it. I just got in trouble in the boardroom for this play. Let's don't tell anybody. Okay, now I got tell them. Usual suspects.
The usual suspects.
Suspects, coach, does that include Chris Newsom being the last cut?
Usual suspects.
Coach, will Coach John have inputs somehow with the way we...
John was helping me. We were at the USA game, Italy game, and he sat down and started to tell me, different things that I'm going to have to go through when I get there, in terms of what the international game is all about, and he listened to the lineup ideas that we had. He was making a couple suggestions. I know he's taking off for London soon. I know that because his wife is best friends with my wife. So, but he said that however he could help, he's going to help. So, if I need to call or ask him or do anything, and again, I'll have his son, so I'll have access to him through his son. So I expect Chuck to have a voice in what we're doing.
Is your assistant in the team?
Yeah. Well, he was my assistant in Alaska, and then he was my assistant in the Asian Games, and then I was his assistant through the mid-2000 when we went to Vegas to train. And then I had to leave. My owner wanted me to focus on Alaska, and then I was his assistant. So we've been going back and forth all the time. Now I'm following him. That's the one thing I didn't want to do. I didn't want to follow him as a head coach. That's one thing that I was very adamant about. Again, when the big boss calls, what you want isn't always what you get.
Go to the next.
They ask you to stay after Asian Games. If the boss asks you to stay.
Qualifiers, FIBA Asia.
I made it clear to everyone that this is really an interim job. And I did it with the Southeast Asian Games, And I know there's a huge difference between Southeast Asian games and Asian games, gigantic difference. And but it will, we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can. That's my job. I mean, that's why I'm in the PBA. To be available to do stuff like this to help things out. And again, I'm just here to help as much as I can through these next 4 weeks, and then that will hopefully give the SPP time to sit down and, like Alpanulio said, review everything and set a course for the program. Who is the leader going to be, decide who's the leader is going to be, and how they proceed. So I'm just here to help them out until they can get to that point and start developing their program. Do I think the Olympic qualifiers, I think, is the next big thing. Yeah. I'm glad we were able to beat China and get to the Olympic qualifiers. That's nice. I think that's going to be fun for the country to see. It's going to be tough. But if we get all our guys together, Chuck and I were sitting around before we beat China, and we were saying, look at, you got Reg, who's 25, you got Dwight, who's just turned 25 that day when we beat China. You got Edu, who's 23. You got Kai, who's 21. I mean, you got your off guard, your power forward. I mean, your small forward, your power forward, and your center, all right there. It's 4 guys that can continually build that program up. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting with those guys. Sorry we couldn't get them here and continue to build with them, but they'll be back and they'll go into the next one. But I think the national team has a real exciting future with those 4 guys leading the way. They're all going to get older and wiser and better, and get a chance to grow together. Be neat.
Coach, when are you planning to go to next week?
I think Wednesday. We'll go from Wednesday till Monday.
But the Monday practice will be
No, I think Monday will be Aspire, and then we'll be back on Tuesday. Monday, we're there for the 13th and the 18th. So we'll probably practice on the morning of the 18th and then go home. And then after that, we'll develop our schedule. I think we leave on the 23rd. Excuse me. They're going to need a day off after Aspire, I guarantee it.
There's no practice on Monday.
No, there should be a practice.